The enemy is a thief. How do we handle certain challenges when they come? The loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, the stealing of Satan. I saw something in Acts chapter 12 from verse 1. Acts chapter 12, we read it at the midnight encounter, and I think it will help us in dealing with losses when they happen. Now, about that time, the king stretched out his hand to harass some from the church. Verse 2, then he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. It wasn't God that killed James, it was the enemy. God's agenda for us is not premature death, it's the enemy that steals. And sometimes it comes into a community and steals people's lives through sickness, through disease, through a mishap. He came and you know, he killed James, and because he saw that it pleased the Jews, at that time those Jews were enemies of the church, he proceeded further. And that's what we are saying, that in the midst of any loss, we must stand our ground that there shall be no more loss. He saw that he pleased the enemy, so he now proceeded further to seize Peter also. Now it was during the days of the unleavened bread. Verse 4. So when he had arrested Peter or him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 squads of soldiers to keep him, intending also to bring him before the people after Passover. He wanted to do the same thing to Peter because the first one worked. But something happened in verse 5 that will always make the difference. Peter was therefore kept in prison, but constant prayer. Somebody say constant prayer. You have to say constantly with your mouth. Say it again. Say it louder. Not short-term prayers. Not one-day prayer. Constant, persistent prayers. So as a church, we need to continue with our prayer power. Prayer responsibility. That is where the power base is. Constant prayer was offered to God for him by the church. It wasn't individual prayers, it was community prayers, it was united prayers, it was, teams praying together to stop the hand of Satan. And that's my first recommendation. In the midst of a loss, there's shedding of tears, a lot of heart pains, but in the midst of that, you must raise the altar of prayers collectively. Glory to God. And then they began to pray. Can we have the next verse, please? They began to pray that, Lord, this affliction must not arise again. And when Herod was about to bring him out that night, Peter was sleeping, bound with 2 chains between the 2 soldiers. And the guards, therefore, before the door was keeping the prison. Verse 7. Now behold, an angel of the Lord stood by him, and a light shone in the prison. I declare that anyone in any kind of prison, as we continue to pray, the light of God will shine. I said the light of God will shine. Now the ministry of that angel and the shining was a result of united prayers. It's not that it happened by luck or by chance. They prayed. Maybe they didn't pray the first time. Maybe something went wrong. We can't tell what went wrong. But whatever it is, God, this affliction must not arise again. Now behold, an angel of the Lord stood by him, and the light shone in the prison, and he struck Peter on the side and raised him up and said, rise quickly. And his chains fell off his hands. Verse 8. Then the angel said to him, guard yourself and tie on your sandals. And so he did. And he said to him, put on your garment and follow me. Verse 9. So he went out and followed him, and did not know that what was done by the angel was real, but thought he was seeing a vision. Verse 10. When they were past the first and the second guard post, they came to the iron gate that leads to the city, which opened to them of its own accord. And they went out and went down one street, and immediately the angel departed from him.
Hi, my name is Vincent, and Pastor Yemi asked me to tell you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.